Kavish Gorchabrati is to any time. And Kol Aloshin, I want to thank Rabbi Yosef Yafi. I want to thank Rabbi Galambik. Rabbi say, take a look. Rabbi Galambik is, look at this. Kaufman, his name is, putting out a beautiful Kiddush Hashem Shein Kamayu. The picture, how can't you get this? Look at it. Just look at it. Look at the picture. I want them to see. They see? They got to see, no? It's beautiful. Rabbi say, get it. Get it. Sponsor. Give geld if you want. Give as much as you want. I'm not asking you for my stuff. I don't go to P. I go to the Abish stuff. You know what happened? PTA. PTA. Arab PTA says they're making me meshuggah. They don't want to make it again because I'm owe money. I saw on the way to the PTA. I says, "Abba Shalom, after I can get some money here, PTA should get money." The last parent left me a check of $1,000. The lady, not the husband. Nes b'soich nes. $1,000 like this. Goodbye. I came in, and the guys are saying, "This time, Mendel, your b'toch is not working." Oh no, it worked. You need patience. The Eibishter always helps me. The Alter from Novandik. Your side's coming up next week. The Glicklichkeit. What? Motzei Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos. 8:30. Come to the Lawrence Shul to Lava Malk at 8:30. And the Alter from Novandik Chus should stay with, which should do wonders for us. Now look, the Welt said on the Vardik that it's not for our door. I heard this from the Grest of Yerushalayim Yidden. Maybe I won't say his name. From a world famous. In fact, I had a tzad. He said, "I'll put you on your feet." And this Hashem, a bomb for the Grest, world famous. I asked him, Nosson, if I should go to him or go back to Novandik. He said, "Go back to Novandik." So you started with Novandik, you stay with Novandik. But he wasn't Pasha this year. And he said, now I didn't see about the whole, you didn't say the whole Novandik. He says, it's a little too high, certain things. So whatever. And look what's happening. Not only it's not too high, it's saving people left and right. There's women giving out courses in shyness. They're flooding them. All built on this stuff. To conquer this. You go through Gehenna. By the way, what's wrong with being shy? It's a great sazach to be shy, less avedis. Oh, but they're able to turn themselves around. It's all the Alter from Novandik. It's such chusim. Now I got to tell you a story. It happened in Yerushalayim. This Baal Tshuva. He had an American Baal Tshuva sitting and learning about some other Rabbi. And he's getting older, and he's got parents who are antagonistic to his learning. By the time you're 30, it's over. You go to work. This is ridiculous. Sitting and learning, you normal? And he was alone, crying to the Eibishter in the base medrash. And suddenly, from nowhere, he sees a sefer called, you ever heard this? He opens it up. It was love at first sight. He's 3-4 hours a day. Since then, he learns this sefer. It could be 2 or 3, but 3-4 sounds better. Lamaisa, it was 3-4 taka. But you said to learn, he's a ben Torah of this. I'll let Madregas Adam. Since he started learning Madregas Adam, suddenly the money's rolling in. This might fist, another might fist, another might, especially the B'tochen Chelik. And geld's coming in here, and geld's coming in there. Mitamol Zafreilach. Now, listen to this. His parents, not only, they don't believe what he's doing, which is not pleasant. And he said, look, I learned Madregas Adam. When you're learning Madregas Adam, you don't care so much of what people are saying. It doesn't kill you the way it used to. So, yeah, he's fine. They don't like it. It's okay. Now, not only his parents have no money, but they don't want him to work. It's nobody home. Suddenly, he changes his mind, and he decides, I'm going to support him. And suddenly, there's money. Nes b'soich nes. Mitamol, he has money. Mitamol, he changed his opinion. And he supports him for years. But no more money. No. With Madregas Adam, no more money. He has, Baruch Hashem, a shver and a shviga, who are the same shita as his parents. We don't hope from this whole business. And as soon as his parents stopped sending him money, suddenly his in-laws decided, we're changing our mind too. And suddenly they got money, which they never had before. And I spoke to, they have no issues. This is years and years, 20 years I think. And he's with Madregas Adam. And he's in his own world. And they have nisim and flies everywhere. Then they have a friend, the exact same issue. Where no money and the parents are against. They learn Madregas Adam, Mitamol, everybody loves them, and they're getting money. Look what's going on here. Madregas Adam. I was in Rav Schlesinger's shul about, 10 years ago. I'm learning Madregas Adam. In walks a Chassidish younger man, tidy younger man. He says, what? The land's dus? He has a friend who sells Sfarim. And he saw Madregas Adam. He got Madregas. He took one look at me. He says, "Dus is Fadir." See this guy. And he took the sefer and he sits for hours. He's in Gan Eden. He's so different. He's so more relaxed. The altar from the Novandik makes a chayzik of COVID, wasting your life with these. And he can spend hours. He told this to me. Hours. He loves this. Madregas Adam. Okay. I'm into it in my own way. Sometimes, whatever it is. So Gavaldik. All the from the bodies. Now we're going to tell you Novandik and mice. He came to this house. No, did I meet him in the house? I met him I met him. Two people from Eretz Yisrael. He's in Enikol the Mavake Shashlemus. That sefer is, when I touch it, I got to wash my hands. It's on fire. And Novandik wrote it. I forgot his name. Shenagel, I think. I'm not sure what his name is. Anyway, he was a Novandik who came to Bnei Brak, a major Ben Torah, a big Talmid Chacham, very respected. He needed a shidduch. Chazon Ish read him a shidduch. What did he read him? Comes in the first day. There's a girl, first class hiker. You know what that means? Hunchback, but good. She was a ganzen out of shape. Hashem Yerachem. She fell off a horse when she was a little child. I had heard about this story, but now I met the Einikel. And he told me the story. I got it more firsthand. So he says, a hiker, what do they want from me? He was a very good-looking person. He was put together. He was a big Ben Torah, popular, a benchus. Everyone held from him. And here's a hiker. And Chazon Ish read it. Now he's saying, my ha'ara. Chazon Ish knew, with an Novandik, you can pull that. Chazon Ish figured out, they'll be all right. He had experience with his brother-in-law, who fell asleep with the stipler. When he read him, the stipler, his sister, stipler comes in and falls promptly asleep middle of the date. That was the first date. You know the story? And the rest is history. The stipler got married, he fell asleep on the first date. A scandal! You fall asleep on the first date. This is only in Novandik. Novandik could get away with that. He lived happily ever after. Fell asleep on the first date. What? You're bored? What? This is the first time you see me? He's in the middle of a sugya somewhere. Oh yeah, I forgot. Or Isha Nickness, I forgot. I was in that sugya recently. Oh yeah, they got married. Yes, I got this out. Yeah. So mitzvah. Anyway, he fell fast asleep. You know why he fell asleep? He was on the train. There was shotnas on the... he used to learn 16 hours straight, and then he went to sleep for 8 hours, then he got up another 20 hours, He had got some halach the way he was the masbid of Novandik. Novandik had that smother, And he was forget it, the stipler. And so he on the train. So he wanted to go to sleep finally after he finished his 36 hours of learning. Let's say 36 sounds good. It could be true also. It's true, no? That's a pasha with him. Learn. How can you stop? It is 11. Anyway, so then he fell, so then he had to get his sleep. That was his seder. So he comes into the train. You know, if it's a machamam, the shatnas, you got problems, right? If you have it's a little warm, you got, and he had to take a look at the seat there, he had shatnas. Shatnas. Shash. You know what's going on? Shatnas. So he held on to the thing, and that was it. That was the train ride. 8 hours, standing, after the 36 hours of learning. Now you got to sleep, finally. No, shatnas. No sleep. This pasfan avadi. And finally he got off the train. Now he's got to see this young lady. A shidduch. A bacher, right? A shidduch comes in and fell right asleep. Up and on. The Chazon Ish is watching. Chazon Ish. The Chazon Ish was a shadchan. What? I'm not sure what happened. But it's a great story. He never saw him. He saw a shtik Torah. That's what I want. That shtik Torah is for my sister. There you go. Chazon Ish liked Novanik, but Muyuchad. He was, okay, anyway, he had a lot of them had to do with him. Anyway, listen to this. So Bacha sees a girl, a hoika, you know what that means? And so he says, hold. So he went into the base medrash. As I heard from the Anikel, took out a Mesilas Yesharim, and he learned all night Musa. And every 15 minutes he started crying. Who's going to marry her if I don't? Every 15 minutes, in the middle of learning Musa. Who's going to marry her if I don't? Next day he says, all right, it's a shidduch. What do you say to that? He raised the family, 8 children, I believe, beautiful family, b'nei Torah, alam. That's the vadi. Kleinakai. To have to do with them is such a schus. To want to be like them. What? Mavakesh Shleimus. Yeah, you know the Sefer? Mavakesh Shleimus, somebody. It's a bomb. He has correspondence with other Novanikers. The way they write, the Dahibenkite. What? I've seen one or two. I think I'm on my second one. Usually people borrow. I never see it again. And then somehow another one pops up. I see that's a lot of, anyway. I may have it, it's very boy. Madrege Dios.
It's down to the Novanik yard site. And the shame, the Mendel want to invite everybody, that the Jaffe, that my free, having a lot of Malka, the COVID, that out to the Novanik yard site. Thousands and thousands of people are going to be there. And the information is on the site. And there's a lot of sponsorships available. Who wants to give money, they can call the side, speak to the person who's named on the side. And so a big chizik for the Novanik, Bטחון, and it'll be a big schus for out to the Neshama. And I hope to see everybody there.
Amen. Shkaya, thank you so much for all the hard work. Chashav Gabayim. Yeah. Now, all right, that's Navadik. You know the feelings for people. The Vardigas didn't talk. What I was exposed to, was very big. They believed a lot in camaraderie. Every time I came to France, there was a party going on. Oh, you know who just got married? Sheva Brachos. Oh, he's making bar mitzvahs. That's all they do all day. Kol Yom of Kechag. That's my experience. In France, in Borough Park, also in Navardi, it was different. I didn't see that over there. Also in Navardi, in Borough Park, they had 10 people there. You ever hear of the Arizal's minion? The Arizal The Beis Yosef, the Lachadaidi was the Chazan, the Beis Yosef was the Paisik, the Al-Shech HaKadosh was the Darshan. You know what went on there? He was once speaking about Lavan, and the Arizal starts laughing. And he says, why are you laughing in the middle of my drasha? He says, because Lavan was standing in the back, his Gilgal came down, and he was said, all the pshatim you said about him, he says, that's true, and that's true. And, you know, what Lavan was thinking. So he said, you know what went on there? These are malachim. The famous story, they got together that on Leil Shavuos, that suddenly out of their learning Mishnayos, and these 10 Gedolei Yisrael, not Shaykh and Tzfas, and suddenly out of the Beis Yosef's mouth comes the Shechina, Medaberes B'toich Greina, and telling how much nachas he has that these people, that they're learning these, whatever, it was the Abish, whatever, it's a gansamais. That minion in Borough Park, you know, there's a Chassidish young man there, a tidy young man. He refused to leave that place. He held on. He had such haracha. Anybody with any seichel, that place was the kaisel amaravi of the world outside of Eretz Yisrael. It was not shayach. You walked in there, the Shechina was there. The Novandig is the people of wine crans. What that person was. What he told Pinchas Menachem Malach. You want a shidduch? You go to France. Then you meet, no, not that, you know, shidduch is in the other place. Yeah. He was about Mephis Goli. They used to ask him about shidduchim, about the yichus of somebody. He said, let me see a picture. Yeah, take the shidduch, he's fine. There's something, don't take it. Then he'd say, oh, you want so-and-so? You'll take that shidduch? In 2 weeks you're divorced. Another time he'd say, why not? Yeah, it's going to work out. And he was Meshunadik, he knew everything. But Shalom Bayis, he had Nisim Luluyim, but this person was a Malach Likim. And his pictures, I have a lot from him, Reb Chaim Motcha Weinkrantz. And the way that Shalom Bayis, what they had, Novandig is, Shalom Bayis, left at the world. I heard, first, I want to say something about the Mir Yeshiva. You know what the Mir Yeshiva was? I heard this. I heard a hesped of Reb Leib Malin in a shleishim from Yisrael Chaim Kaplan. Reb Yisrael Chaim Kaplan was the most beautiful person you ever met in your life. There were 3 people who made a hesped. Rav Hutner came in the middle. He was funny. Rav Hutner came in the middle of the hesped. He pops up. He once said about Reb Leib Hyman, as for mine, chashivs the misnagdim. They had different shitas. Anyway, he came in there. He did some pratim. It was very, okay, whatever. But he was the last speaker and the best speaker. And the whole hesped was on the Mir Yeshiva. I remember the way he said, das is given the Mir Yeshiva, the davening, the learning. He was an Adam of Rebbe Yerucham. By the way, why was he an Adam? Ramat Cheshwab told me. Why did Rebbe Yerucham pick him? They were Bachram just as good as him. Because he used to learn most of an hour a day. And for the first 10 minutes, he used to have the Matzaya Gehenim. And at being Matzaya Gehenim, he was the best. That's what he took him. Figure out who these people were.
He was one of the 10 people there. He said on him,
who said on him? The Gilgal said on him. The Dibuk said on him. Malach Hashem. Now what somebody, Ramat Schwab once took somebody, Ramat Schwab wanted to go to Novandig. And he went to Reb Yisrael Yankiv, the Alta son-in-law. The Alta son-in-law said, no, it's not for you. Go to the mayor. It's not for everybody, but he wanted Novandig because he wanted the Amuna, whatever. So he invited a friend from Berlin. He was a Deutsch. He was a German. Come to the yeshiva. And his friend came in one time during Musa Seder. He saw Rebbe Yerucham sitting in a higher. The whole yeshiva was sitting and learning. With that nigga and everybody learning. And Rebbe Yerucham was higher than everyone else. I was looking with simcha, with nachas. His face was shining. You know Rebbe Yerucham, on Shabbos he looked different than the weekdays, you know. Mashgiach Nosson thought it's a different. Who's that Mashgiach on Shabbos? What happened to the other one? He said, no, it's the same one. That's how he looks on Shabbos. You know, at the Mir Yeshiva, what's going on there in the Mir Yeshiva? And he was so nisragish from the way they learned Musa. I heard Rabbi Yamin Salberger learning Musa here in Lakewood, quietly by himself. There was a small Musa library. The way a sweetness, I can't be masik. The way he learned Musa, the way he learned, so geschmack, I can't explain it. And imagine a whole yeshiva learning with a spileless Musa and Rabbi Yerucham. Now I'm going to tell you about, how did I get into the Mir? You have an idea what the yeshiva bacham, but being HV, they had a hard time with shidduchim. Reb Shlomo Volba told me, I had a reason for building up the Mir, because I'm going to say something in a minute. Get ready. I'm joking. Chas v'chalila. But I could kid around a little. I'm allowed to say, you know, so they couldn't do shidduchim. Reb Leib Rutkin told me, that's all. He learned in Kletsk. He told me that Reb Shlomo Volba told me the reason why they all went to the Mir is because he couldn't get married. Reb Yerucham was a shatchen. That's Reb Shlomo Volba. I mean, Reb Yerucham was charismatic. There was no one like him, but that's what Reb Shlomo Volba told me. They were desperate to get married. And what's the name? Reb Leib Rutkin told me the way a yeshiva bocher, and he had a friend that was a Matsuin Gadol at 35 something. He finally did a shidduch. And he tells me, Amachu Eres, Ashistavots in Ish Genumen. That's what he told me. A man hasagis of Bukhara, but I don't know if they know the difference. I'm only here. Anyway, I'm only so, but they had a hard time at shidduchim. Now, in Novanog, shidduchim, what are you talking? Closed esrog box. Meinaf Kavita. In Nevada, they laughed their heads off at the whole problem. Oh, you're having trouble. That's terrible. Oh, you want the nose to go this way, that way? Now, I want to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. I've said this 2,000 times already. It's good to hear it again. I'm hearing the reports. People are telling me their lives are changing. It's very important. Now, I'm going to tell you who said this. I heard it from the biggest psycholog in Lakewood, who Matisyo used to send people to him. From a psychologist, a tzaddik. He told me, he's not an Novanog. He said, he holds it doesn't matter who you marry. It's you. And I heard this from someone else, from the big Torah Masorah, from the biggest names in America today. His son told me the same thing. It's not so pushit. You got to get this. So, in Mila Dialma, we know that Novanog had that sheetus, but in Mila Dialma, there's so much dimyain. So much dimyain. I heard recently somebody tells me, Nebuch, you know, somebody's on the verge of Zayn Gesund, and the guy tells me he knows his wife's issue because he read a lot of material. So him and all the family decided they don't, because she has kach v'kach, and kach v'kach means okay. I laugh at all these things, you know that. You know that I just got a report from Yerushalayim. Rabbi Mendel, you made a mifus for I don't even remember. This woman's husband was in the hospital of tight and sugar. I gave him one bracha and he's out and he's normal. That was 2 years ago. At least one bracha. She's telling me it was whatever, it was a ganze pirish, whatever. I'm not so to spoil, Don't have so much as spoil as a name, but he has. Once you give him a stempel, he's finished. I told you the schizophrenia, I told you already, no? Everybody heard them. It's nice. Anyway. So the Novanog have a bittel. There's a story I heard a Novandiga spent all night. He had a daughter who was not normal. I remember who told it to me. I can retrace the whole story. I heard it from Adam, a very chashuv, a younger man in New York. He told me the story. This guy's daughter was Hashem Yirachem, not well, in a mental hospital. He learned Musa all night long. The morning she was fine, and she's married, and everything's healthy. You believe it? Don't believe it. You know what belief can do? You know what you believe what that can do if you're going to make a bittul about doctors and lawyers. The Novandigas were great in bittul. Yeah. I know a Novandiga who married a second marriage, a divorcee, that everyone says he's getting divorced. No one could deal with her. And he told this to me. He left his head off. I married her. I was in the house. The respect she had for him, there was no problem at all. Anyway, now I'm going to tell you, Rabbi Said, this is Parshas Vayishlach. There's an atomic bomb. Rabbi Yerucham's atomic bomb. It's an Novandiga. Now remember, Novandigas, everyone was looking for Shidduchim, and Novandigas were laughing. They were laughing. And they all were happily married. Every one of them. They didn't care who they married. They were busy. My life is Musa. And Reb Shamshul Fol Hirsch says this. You have to see it. It's not shaykh. It says in Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu was the happiest person because he didn't live for getting things. He lived for doing. By him, sameach means sameach. Steiging. How can I steig from this? That Keda didn't face him. It's another Nisayin. Everything's a Nisayin. But White Crane's son, told me that his father used to always tell him, Nisayin. When you look at a person as a Nisayin, the whole problem disappears. It's a Nisayin. You don't chap what's going on here. It's a Nisayin. They're testing you. Don't you chap? It's just a test. But he did, and she did, and you did, and I did. It's an Nisayin. Everything's an Nisayin. You have a different cook. You're happy. I have a very hard time talking to people when I tell them it's a terrible thing that's going on, but you're going to steig like anything. You know what they do? Please do me a favor. I'm not interested in steiging. I need what's going to be with whatever it is. That's the issue. Is, do you know that Rabbeinu Yonah says, if they were taught when they were younger that the main issue in your life is breaking your midas. I'm going to get married, I'm going to be a Rosh Hashiva, I'm a tzaddik, I'm a businessman, I'm successful, I'll have friends, I'll get shlishi, I'll get seed, I'll get whatever it is, I'll give money, I'll be this. That's your head. These are from the best people. That's not why you came here. Came here to be Ayman ben Asayid. Or else you'd be busy with kinna. I heard the Baron Leib say this. I was complimented by one of the biggest Rabbanim in Lakewood that my Bטחון weeklies are constantly addressing kinna. This person is a big pikeach. He said that's the issue, and it is. Baron Leib, I heard. Now someone just told me, Baron Leib says kinna is it. What's killing everybody is kinna. And whether you know it or not, that's what's killing you. You know, I heard that you're a better speaker than me. I can't handle that. I heard that he has better kids. This guy has more money. Whatever it is, it's kinna. And it kills you. You got to work on it. Sameach b'cholkei. The ikar b'tachon is to be sameach b'cholkei. Not to be nispel. Now I'm going to tell you a vort that's not shaykh. It's a bumba. We're going to open up a chumash, Parshas Vayishlach. And every time I open it up, I say, what in the world is going on here? There's 42 psukim. 42 psukim of Esav Lachtigaditis with all his mamzenim lach. This one married the mother, this one married the sister, this one married the... Who cares? What's going on here? What is that all about? Nobody doesn't bother anybody. The Torah has to be so matriach to come to Ra'ina, they say. To tell you all this, what's going on here? Yeah. When the Torah is marich, Abdi Yavos, what does it say? Yapasichas Abdi Yavos Mitarazo Shabonim. When the Torah is marked, the story of Eliezer, the Abishah says, Chazal say, you see, because it's so chashiv, so many psukim. Sichas Abdi Yavos Mitarazo Shabonim. So who in the world needs 42 psukim about Esav's or Eneklach? Aluf this and aluf that and aluf ahim and achaydi and this. He's from here and he's from there. Who cares? Like who? We need that. I'm going to tell you. I'm just telling to a Yesoid. You can't forget this for the rest of your life. The Eloi Nishmas, the Heilig Alta von Novandiks, Rabbi Rucham Zeshmus. Boy, is this Novandik country. Rabbi Rucham said the following. He brought down a chazal. It's a medrash. That says, 8 Torahs. Avram, what's his name? Yaakov Avinu bowed down to Esav 8 times. Because he bowed down 8 times. He called him Adoni. What? Called him Adoni 8 times. Esav got 8 Torahs, 8 kings before you did. You created those kings because you're bowing down. Pleasure to see you guys. Ah, you're talking. I was dreaming. Look at this. Oh, boy. Now this, we'll mix. I do mish, by the way. I believe in mixing lechatchila. I don't wait for Achron Shal Pesach. I mix always. Anyway, so here's the story. Thank you so much, Rabbi B'Tesh. We got the caramel kiss. This is not shy. Good. Chaim, just bring them all in. But I'm embarrassed. I never really drank. Now I have to show something for myself. I'll learn I know how to drink. What do you think? I'm stomach guy. You know, when I went to one of my kids, the Shabbos, they served me 5% alcohol. I was insulted. That's what you think of me, such a low opinion. L'chaim teimel shalom, simchas, dalta zol zayin ha-melitz yoshev against Klal Yisrael. We should all go in his heilige drachim, and he should have nachas. The Rebbe should have tremendous nachas. That we have a havamina of getting near the Kodesh Kadoshim Novandik. Ein l'shaya. Chaim. Know what? You think so? Oh, I need a new shackle? Somebody make a shackle, me might me. So we'll be all right. Make a shackle, no? Me might hear him. Go ahead. Amen. That's all I gave you, Rabbi B'Tesh. You're the Baal Simcha here. Shvach, bring in the stuff. Bring him some more stuff, Rabbi B'Tesh. Anybody want a goose? We have 2 goose. Anyway. So, Lamaisai. The story. So, what happened to the caramel kiss? You got it? Passing around. Okay. Good stuff, Rabbi B'Tesh. You understand. Aymed al-Das, Rabbi. He knows. He knows what the Rebbe likes. Anyway, what I want to say.
Bowing down 8 times.
8 times. Oh, he bows down 8 times. And he bows down. And because he did that, he created. You create with your achna. You created a problem because you're scared. There's an 80-year-old shiksa who lives down my block. She's a good Shabbos guy. Husband mainly comes usually. Nice guy. They had a dog that's vicious. That any guy that gets near that dog, the Levi is tomorrow. Forget it. And this lady, the dog loves the lady, and the lady loves the dog. It's a shidduch. And I heard from one of the neighbors, because this lady loves the dog. She's not impressed with his grouchy barks and his canine teeth. So that's the way God made him. You know, he's a good dog. He's a well-meaning dog, and he's a nice dog. And you don't understand him. You don't understand the dog. You were never a dog, so you don't chop. So, but that's what he is. And you have to respect him for what he is. And you have to be nice to him and feed him. And she and her dog is a child. You know that she has 52 cats. And she has a special house for the cats. You know that? She was once terribly depressed. And what happened? She needed a heart monitor. You know that? Because her favorite cat was Nifta. Did you hear that one? My favorite cat died. And I'm wondering how she needed a heart monitor for that cat. Now, cats don't live as long as people, by far. She's going to have 52 cat levias. How's she going to deal with that? Her spadim. She once asked me to daven for one of her dogs. She left me a picture of the dog, and she told me the dog's name, Wanit, I think, whatever. Wanit, please pray. The dog is yet a machla. Can you please pray for my dog? So I says, what's the dog's mother's name? Yeah, anyway, I davened. I was hoping to make Kiddush Hashem. She put the dog out. That's it. So I couldn't have my... Anyway. But, so the dog loves her. And he hates everybody except for her. Because she said, there's a yesod going on here. Even with the machines, if you're nervous, the machines break. I heard this. I spoke to at least five copy machine repairmen. The machine that I go through is always some nervous people hanging around. Now, the guy that fixes it tells me, if you got a deadline and you talk nasty to that machine, he will get you back with a vengeance. I heard this from a Shagans. And more than once, they keep telling me the same thing. You start up with those machines. They know that you're all nervous. Can you imagine? The Abishta made the world. Now look, if you're bowing down to Esav, you call him Adoni 8 times. You created the whole parsha in the Torah, Hashem Yirachim. Aluf this and aluf that. I tie it, aluf. The way Rabbeinu Hirsch touches it up. We have Nasiim, they have aluf means you're aloof. You fapa everybody on. The English word aloof, I hold, comes from this, right? Because they don't really care for the people under them. They're aloof. A nasi is someone filled mid. He has the same, he's part of you. It's a different. Anyway. But a yid shouldn't be aloof. He has to care for the people, for everybody. Kiptaran, Rabbi say. But if you want to care for people, you got to stop being afraid of them. You're too afraid of how you're going to get locked in jail your whole life. Afraid of everybody. You're going to love everybody. You're going to kiss people. You're intimidated by them. He has more money. He has more nachas. I'm going to kiss him. I need chizuk. I need chizuk. I'm the nebuch around here. So I'm supposed to, in Novhardok, they'll teach you about those things. Everybody thinks he's the nebuch. Anyway, so here comes the Chazal. So Zak Reb Yerucham, Yaakov Avinu created, and he says like this: Tzadik mot b'fnei Rasha. It's a pasuk in Mishlei. If a tzaddik, it's the worst chilul Hashem, because you stand for avodas Hashem, and he stands for Avkedus, and you're machniah to him. You know the korban you're making. Then Reb Yerucham ends off saying, and what do we do when we walk in the street? Whoever we see around us is our Adonim. Everybody's your Adon. It's true. Rabbi Yerucham says it. It's the last words he says in this shtickle. You got to see the whole shtickle. It's the way a person's mind affects this whole environment. You're afraid of your wife? She's boss. You know that? You don't want to make her boss? You want her to step all over you? Go around being afraid of her. You want to get a dog angry at you? Be afraid of him. You're not afraid of the dog? He's not going to touch you. You think positive, happy thoughts about whoever it is, your friends. You have no idea how much kayach. Now, so Yerucham says when we go in the street, we look at the people around us as our Adonim. We're afraid of everybody in the street. So I wanted to put our goyis on the shtickle. And I did. I wrote up, whoever saw my Bטחון weekly of this week, I wrote in over there, but not Novhardok. Novhardok aren't afraid of everybody in the street. And I said, some people, it's a mitzvah for them to feel like everyone in the street are their avodim. Because they're extreme. They're too much shefels. They think they're nobody. And you have to go extreme to work on your midas. Anyway. Now
What's the right balance? If you're, let's say, in between going, I don't know, you're in a place where security, whatever it is, they're, they want to be on top of you. Just if you.
You know, when I see police, do you know who my best friend is? Bob. Go ask Bob who his best friend in YTT is. It's me. Can the Adam take my Bטחון weeklies and spread them out to schooler? The list, people who give out my stuff have big yeshuas. Anyway, give out as much as you can. They're in the now, when I see a cop, I always compliment him. You're doing a great job. You have no idea how soft they are. They're human beings. They need a nice word. They need a compliment. You want to really get on his good side. You see a sheikh that's walking in the street with a dog, with a poodle. Compliment that poodle. I'm telling you, the guy's going to turn colors. I did it a few times already. That was so nice of you to say that. I says, you have a cute poodle there. I think he's very nice, that dog you have. They love it. My father used to do that. My father's Atzal. There was a, Skippy was the name of the dog. My father was not afraid of them. I keep away. I'm a different diet. My father was raised on a farm where a dog is useful. I don't know if it's right for a yid to have a dog. It's a different schmooze. But if you're on a farm and he's needed as part, it's a different ballgame. So my father was raised on a farm somewhat. He's from a farm he came from Woodridge. And he loved, I remember on my block, there was a Shagitz whose name was Mike Santora. Mike Santora was an Italian. By the way, Rabbi Yaakov said, these Italians are chosh, watch out for mamzeris. There's Jews in there. During the Renaissance, there was a lot of intermarriage because they were the best goyim around. The Renaissance, you know that. In that kufa, all the goyim were miserable like animals, and the Italians were, classy people. And mainly there was a lot of intermarriage, and you have to watch out. That's what they say. That's why Italians look Jewish. There's a reason. By the way, Asaph and Yaakov were identical twins. Rabbeinu here says they come out exactly the same. I know where he got it from. It's from Purush Rozal, Parshas Vayachid, that Yehuda did not want to kill Asaph to his face. There's a machlokes who killed Asaph. The most famous one is Don. Chushan ben Don killed him. But there is a medrash in Vayachid that says Yehuda killed him. And when he killed him, he took a look at Asaph's face and he said, that looks exactly like my father. I cannot do that to my father's face. So he turned around and he killed him from behind. So because that Yehuda goes to war, all his enemies turn their backs and he wins all the wars. As I state in Chazal, because in the Kibbutz, Yehuda didn't want to kill Asaph to his face. But they were identical twins. They looked different, we know that. But there was a lot of similarities. And some people think Italians look like Jews for that reason. But it's lavdafke. There's plenty of Jewish blood. During World War II, Rabbi Miller points out, that's how the Italians went out of their way to save Jews. I once got a hitch here in Lakewood. The guy picked me up, was an Italian. He says, you know what us Italians did for you Jews during World War II? We hid Jews, and if we got caught, they shot 10 of us. That's what was the penalty. You do that, you're finished. And they kept saving us. So what suddenly got into Asaph? Like, Italy is Asaph. Grad, the Mashgiach of Nussin told me that the real Asaph is Russia. He says, Italy fanet nicht at ort. They don't count these days. Italy, that's not the real thing. All right, but Sherman, there's a lot of Jewish blood over there. But this Mike Santora was an Italian guy, and he was so geschmack. He had a chedva sachayim. He was a big heavy guy, used to drink a lot, with a red face, and he had vodka all the time. And he was happy, and he loved his doggy. Skippy had the best doggy. And my father used to go over, and whenever he met Skippy, and he patted him, and Mike used to kvel. My father appreciated his Skippy. So, anyway, a huntel. If you're not afraid, they wag their tails. They don't chepper you. By the way, if you don't do Averis, they're also your best friend. When Daniel was thrown into a lion's den of 300 lions, the lions wagged their tails, and they licked him, and they loved him, because he didn't do Averis. You know that? You know the Meister of Bechana Wasserman? You heard the story of Bechana Wasserman? That's what they say. It happened on a farm here in America. What?
My great-grandfather.
It was your great-grandfather. He came to the house, the dog
Stayed by my great-grandfather's house.
who Bechana Wasserman.
Yeah.
And there was a dog.
They had a big dog because he was a salesman. He was never home. And my great-grandmother was home with the kids. And anytime somebody came to the house, the dog used to jump up by the window. It was a big, scary dog. When a Bechana came, it ran away and hid and didn't come out. How was it?
Look what's going on. Because if you're a tzaddik, they love you. Okay, it's a different shmuz. But anyway, if you're afraid of everybody, you're creating Zok Rebbe Yerucham, there's Paris. To fear, there are real Paris. Fear is going to create live Asavs. Alufei Adain. Because he said Adain Asav. I'm going to add one little thing. He says Abraham Avinu was not like that. Abraham was not like Yaakov Avinu. Abraham, he had the chanfa. He says, als derech eretz, with b'nei ches. He was desperate. He wants Maris Pela. He had to deal with them. He never said once Adoni. I got to tell you my boat. So he says Abraham was not like Yaakov. Whatever Yaakov did, nobody understands. But that's the boat. I want to tie it. Avraham, Raimamus. Avraham is the beginning of all the others. The beginning of Avodas Hashem is hold from yourself. Later Avraham is Raimamus. Sarah, Sarara, Yitzchak. These are nobility. That's the name. Raimamus. I tie it. Aram had a mile in that. They were, Laban was, Canaan is Kenia. You know, Avraham said, I don't want no Canaan for my shidduchim. We'll take from Aram, right? It's the opposite. They're tough guys, but we're going to channel those midos to learn Torah. We'll be tough in learning. We'll function. We'll be something. Canaan, we don't want Canaan. They're too... By the way, I'm going to tell you something about Canaan. They got along better. There was a Medina and Shechem. You know that the Medrash says that one of the reasons we went to Mitzrayim is because in Egypt, they were big anti-Semites, and there wouldn't be any intermarriage. You talk to see in Canaan. Right. Anyway, I want to mention something. So, when you walk in the street, believe you own the world. Did you hear that? In Slabot did it. They talk like that. Oh boy, we used to see some of these alta chevronas, the hat on like this, on an angle. And the back, the Alta Slabon makes you walk. You know who you are? You know what a Ben Torah is? You're going, oh, well, what are you doing? You're a Ben Torah. Fafamon. Who's this guy I was once on the plane, and they showed some stuff there that was unwanted stuff. They show it to you, like, you know, to show you how to put on the seatbelt, how to put on just in case something happens. They have to make a whole kratchka over there to show you what to do just in case this happens, that happens. And they had some pictures there, and I was infuriated. So I told the guy that's working, the steward, I said, I started screaming. I says, this is disgusting. He got all, he was a very clean-cut guy. He looked like, you know, like he was one of those, but I'm not in the spoil. I smell everything. The Novandigas know it's all baloney. Inside, you're a cream puff like everybody else. Just you have a hat on, you think you're handsome. This is main garnish. You're all insecure. And I was screaming my head off. How could you show a thing like this? You're not embarrassed? I was screaming in front of the whole plane. I fought from all over. Everybody goes along. Well, that's the minhag, with the people with beards and shaped looks. Well, that's the way it is. What do you mean that's the way it is? This is disgusting. I didn't pay for this. You guys have no morals. You're out of your minds. I have to put up with this. I was screaming at the guy. Now, then I told him like this. I says, I don't mean you. You happen to be a very nice guy. In fact, I like your smile. But I mean the guys who are running it. The guy loves me till today. But as soon I says, now I want to complain. And I got his, he gave me the number, and I went to the guy in charge after I got off the plane. And I says, what kind of disgusting thing you guys showing? You're not embarrassed to do things like that? Now, I don't care what they think. I don't care what anyone says. The Eibishter sees someone's meicha. That the whole world's oilam gailam. Everybody, well, that's what they do. What do you mean that's what they do? Are you normal? You got used to it? What do you get used to such a thing? You get used to it. Never, you know what I'm ice with? It was a Satmar of Carlsberg, I'm not sure. This Yid, he didn't like, he was working place, there were ladies over there. He didn't, it wasn't. So he comes to the Rebbe, says, Rebbe, I can't, it's nicht for Yiddish. It's not for Yid to work in such a place with so much, it's not. So the Rebbe says, you have Parnasa, you have Parnasa, you stay in that office. It's not pleasant, I know, but that's life. 2 years later, he meets him again. Says, how are things going? Oh, very good. What about the problem with Kedusha, with ladies? Oh, that's fine. I'm used to it. It's nothing. So he says, I want you to leave. You're already talking. Oh, it's good already. Time to get out. You're talking like that. That's nicht kein, So, what's up made it? The ganze Welt, there's a story with Rav Scheinberg. Rav Scheinberg didn't want the movies on a plane. And he said, here's what they say. I wasn't there. They started showing the movies. And he says, I don't want this stuff. And Rav Scheinberg gets up in front of the whole plane and he says, I'm not interested in the movies. Does anybody protest? Nobody raised their hand. So you see, he points to nobody wants it. And they turned it off. That's what I heard. There's another girsa that Rav Scheinberg's didn't work. Everything else worked. That's another girsa. Then there's a Meister of Gershon. He was on a plane. And suddenly they started showing stuff over there. So Rav Gershon says, Pachat Adelet. So you know what that means? Open the door. Let's get out of here. So his Gabbai tells him, he says, Rabbeinu. They used to call him Rabbeinu. Anu ba'avir. We're flying in a plane. Azma. Azma. Zerbi Sosalanta said that he's not afraid to go on one of these trains that could be some kind of problems with yichud things, because he would just jump out the window. If it ever happened to us, I'll jump out, no problem. Novhardok got together with yeshiva people, and and they asked him, what are yeshiva man? He said, where'd you learn? I learned Novhardok. And you learned from one of the famous yeshivas? So they asked him, he asked the Novhardok, what did they teach you there? What could you do special? He says, well, you finished a few block tomorrow, a few masachos. He says, now what did you learn? What did I learn? Let me ask you a question. If you were standing in the street and you suddenly found out you have shotness, what would you do? You know the Gemara. There's no chachmas. You take it off right there on the spot. No chachmas. What would you do? Well, I would run real fast. Hey, you run real fast. Every step, it's a deraisa. You know that. You're wearing shotness. What do you mean you're going to run? What happened to your shas? What happened to you learned? You were Baruch Bey, you learned this. What happened to the Maisa? What would I do? I'd get undressed l'chatchila. There's a Maisa with the altar that he had an argument with somebody. Should he have a long beged or a short beged? So he said, The other guy said a short. The Alter said a help from long begun. And the Alter said, if I'm right, no more short begging. We're stop schmoozing around or we're real. And so the guy says, what if I'm right? If you're right. He started taking off his clothes right there in the street. You think I'm playing games? I'm ready to no problem. He said, oh, it's okay, it's okay. Anyway, not to be afraid of people. I will tell you something. If you're closed mind, you're afraid of people, you are in jail. You don't know where to jail you, and you better work on it. Because you will not, there's so much gold sitting inside you. Lately, I'm opening up a little bit. My father used to kiss people in the street. My Uncle Manas, he used to kiss people in the streets like nothing. He did pratim without being Novandik. My father was always doing these type of things. He wasn't afraid of nobody. I'm not ready for that. There's too much fear going on in my life. You know, you're gonna kiss him? Well, I don't know how he's gonna like it. Him? I don't even really know him. Him? You're not gonna do it. It's not happening. Now listen to this. If you are always doing pratim and faffing on people, and constantly, you gotta work on it a lot. You go to a chassan and get up on the chair. Don't be scared. Get up on that chair, faff a moon. Do some things, of course, with seichel. You don't become a ganze meshugana. Take Rabbi side of more better. You can take a whole stack of them, bring it, give them out. Here, this is my new stuff. It's half full of a fella. I know the machaba, that's me. It's meridic. I'm getting, thank you, pleasure to see you.
Put them in the Rebbe's room, they don't go back to class.
Oh, that's the problem. I hear the problem. Anyway, so what was I saying? What are I talking about? Oh, pratim. So I want to tell you something. My father used to do this left and right. I can't do these things. You know, a little bit, you know, I'm shvach. But why? Because you're so scared of everybody. Every opportunity. Now there's somebody, I don't want to get in details who it is. There is a person who took to my stuff in a big way. I've mentioned this. This is the number one of nobody really did a job like this young man. This young man has gone through Sheva Maduri Gehenna. This young man is not cut out for a normal life. For the traumatic experiences from the home, still petrified of both his parents, from the school that destroyed him because he was not whatever, and from two independent traumatic experiences that could kill an elephant. This person started watching Mandel, and this person took to it, not stopped. And this person called me up on the phone, and like 2 months after the first time I spoke to that person, I didn't recognize him. He was a different person. He went into not being afraid of people. Full force ahead. This person says hello to every single neighbor that he's afraid of. And this person has a chavrusa. The trick is get a nudnik. I heard this in Novandik. Get one nudnik, he'll save your life. He's got to pay him money. He's got to push you, do in 1 month. The guy was a different person. You go to a chassan, don't avoid. The Welt says, avoid avoidance. Stop avoiding everything. Well, I don't want to walk over to him because he's going to think I'm this dafka goat. You know what this guy does? He traveled 2 hours to they once destroyed him, a certain group. They destroyed his life, mamish. So they were making a reunion. He was once part of them. So he took a 2-hour trip to be at the reunion so they could ignore him, which he knew they would do. He dafka did it. Because Mendel said, Novandik. That's Novandik. And he's full of these things. He has a neighbor, a kid who is a bratty kid. What's the kid that everyone's afraid of? Because the kid could embarrass you. Kid could give you bezyonis. You know, little kids could say, oh, you're terrible, you know, and do that stuff. I had something recently. I'm so proud of it. I had some very chashuv people on the phone. And there was a younger man that came in who was a little bit, you know, not so, he doesn't view me as a Rebbe yet. He looks at me like whatever. And he could say things in a big way. And I'm on the telephone, and I got one of the biggest, Chashav Yidin on the phone with his wife, and they're listening to Rabbi Mandel's what he wants to say, and suddenly this guy starts yelling at me, calling me all kinds of names. What do you think I did? I says, just 1 second. And I hold it out, and I says, so I lost some covet from this guy and his wife. So I lost some covet. Who cares? So he's going to think, years ago what I would do? Don't embarrass me in public. Oh, 1 second. I'm busy now. Let me put this guy off so you shouldn't hear that music, the way they're mavazing me. Especially that this guy's coming to me like I'm the guru of the world. And this guy's putting me in place like I'm a zero. Doesn't pass. Not with me. I said, does pass. Wait, let me turn you on 1 second. I'll answer you in a minute. Just 1 minute. I just have to think for something. And I turn it around and I let the guy scream and call me names. All my weaknesses came out on the phone. I promise you, it's a true story. Thanks to Novanik. I'm a happy person. So I don't care. Pop him on. So don't do that. Don't do that in public. I was once in a car accident. What?